Tonight's acting report, directory existence. You know them as phone books, and they're arriving on your doorstep this spring, whether you want them or not.
Investigative reporter Chuck Gow has been looking at efforts to regulate deliveries of these books. Chuck?
Ron, Kathy, you know them as the yellow pages, the real yellow pages, yellow book, and white pages. But even in the digital age, when directory existence is a mouse click away, 7,000 different versions of these books are still delivered to just about every U.S. home. Most are thick and as big as a Big Mac, and often go straight into the trash or recycling.
From downstate to down the street, across Chicagoland and across the country, more than 550 million copies of the phone book are being delivered. That is almost 2 directories per person in America, whether you want them or not.
Nobody needs them, so they leave them outside, and then they get rained on, and then you're definitely not going to pick them up and take them inside.
Last year they sat there until they got like super moldy, and then the landlord hauled them away somewhere.
The first yellow pages came out 125 years ago when the printer ran out of white paper, an era when most people didn't even have a telephone. Now, most people have computers where names, addresses, phone numbers, ads, consumer reviews, and more are available. But the Yellow Pages industry says its recent research shows 80% of all adults still use paper phone books.
It's a consumer choice, right? So the consumer gets the directories, and they either keep them or they recycle them.
In Chicago, you don't have to look far to see evidence of the decision made by some people.
They dropped off 6 because there's 6 apartments in my building, but maybe one person picks up one of those phone books. So the other 5 go to waste, they go in the garbage.
When these companies come in to drop off the phone books, you end up getting huge piles of phone books outside all the different apartment buildings and condominium buildings in my neighborhood.
That, says Rogers Park Alderman Joe Moore, costs the taxpayers.
On a number of fronts. First, just picking up the ones that are left behind, and then number 2, the cost of disposal of them, either through putting them in landfills or recycling them. Either way, it's a cost to the city.
From our perspective, it doesn't do us any good to deliver a phone book to somebody who doesn't want them. The vast majority of adults continue to use print directories, but for those people who don't, we've developed some consumer choice programs that give adults the ability to opt out of unwanted phone books.
No, I had no idea about that.
First, though, you have to know there is a way to opt out. Then, if you let your fingers do the walking to the industry's opt-out opportunity, you better have fit fingers. On this phone book website, we had to navigate through 8 pages of confusing commands just to find the opt-out form.
Everybody gets both a large version and a compact version of the book.
It is no wonder that this phone book delivery person says she rarely has opt-out addresses on her delivery paperwork.
There are very few, but on occasion there is a person or two that does not get a phone book.
From the industry's perspective, they would prefer that people not know that there are opportunities for opt-out.
In Boston, Scott Cassell oversees the Product Stewardship Institute that is working with the Yellow Pages industry on an effective way for people to opt out of receiving unwanted phone books.
And that is part of the frustration, and not only in Chicago or Illinois or other parts of the country as well, is that people don't want to get all these phone books, but they just don't know what to do about it. And there are a number of programs that are on the website, but not all of them are actually viable.
Alderman Joe Moore says he will push for consumers to opt in if they want the phone books.
I'm certainly going to talk to my colleagues, and I'm going to talk to the phone companies to get their input. But ultimately, it seems to me the way to go, unless we get a voluntary cooperation from the phone companies, is to introduce an ordinance requiring this opt-in measure.
10 states currently have legislation on the books regulating phone book deliveries, Illinois not among them. Yellow Pages industry executives say they too see a gradual move to the internet, but since they own and operate those databases as well, that isn't much of a problem. Until though they plan to keep printing phone books, they say, and they want it known that they aren't killing trees because the books, they say, are made from recycled directories and wood chips. We've put several links out on our website about all of this, abc7chicago.com. Click on iTeam We will show you how to opt out, but in many cases it is very cumbersome and time consuming as well.
That's amazing. Yeah, thanks, Chuck.